I was only 16 years old at the time. It was around 9 in the evening. The sun had already set, and the moon, just like the stars, was hidden beneath a thick layer of hazy clouds. It was incredibly dark, and the mist rising from the rain distorted the visibility even further. Fresh asphalt had been laid on the street just a few days prior, still giving off its distinct scent. Raindrops plummeted onto it at a frantic pace, creating a steady hum. Aside from the sound of the rain, there was absolute silence, as if the street had fallen into a deep slumber. I live in a very small town. 2 months ago, our local school was closed down due to the dwindling population, forcing me to
Watch your
attend
step.
one in a neighboring
There is
town.
plenty of room in the back.
It takes me 2 hours to get there, and another 2 to make the journey back.
Watch your step.
Out-of-town
There is
students
plenty
attend
of room
the
in the
second
back.
shift, which means that every day at around 3 o'clock, I have to be at the bus stop.
Watch your step.
It's
There is
located
plenty
right
of room
at
in
an
the back.
intersection and is always bustling with people. I usually wait about 15 minutes for the number 40 bus. It's an old yellow thing that picks up around 15 to 20 people, along with a few students heading to the neighboring town. The bus windows are taped over with black cellophane, making it impossible to see out. The seats are rough, old, and often worn out. The metal of the base and the doors is rusted. A small icon hangs by every seat. It makes the ride safe. The bus is always full, and always with the exact same people. We have an unspoken agreement that every passenger has their own designated spot. The left side, separated from the driver, just a single pair of seats. Passengers are a diverse bunch, young and old, workers and retirees, ladies and gentlemen. But that is not the barrier of us. It is always a
Please don't let it be. Please don't let it be.
The driver would never do something like that. He would always wait for everyone. So I asked him,
Please don't
"What
let it
happened?
be.
Why are we leaving? Aren't we waiting?" But the driver didn't answer. He didn't make a single
Please
sound,
don't let it be.
as if he weren't even there. I asked again, but received the exact same response of silence. It was incredibly strange, but I was so exhausted and rattled by the dogs that I just wanted to sit down and go home. I finally reached my seat and noticed a deeply unsettling detail. The icon was gone. And not just mine. They were missing from everywhere, except for the seat directly behind me. There, the icon remained, fully intact, with even the dust wiped away. The bus finally began to move. I fastened my seatbelt, and from behind me, I heard a strange sound. The icon had fallen. I wanted to fix it, but my seatbelt jammed, and I couldn't unbuckle it, no matter how hard I tried. The atmosphere was awkward and eerily quiet. I tried striking up a conversation with the driver, asking about the weather, talking about my day, about his day, but it felt entirely like I was talking to myself. I couldn't even see the driver's shadow, and honestly, it made me feel quite uneasy. As we traveled, the weather worsened. The light drizzle grew heavier, battering the windows more frequently. Since they were tinted, however, I couldn't see a thing outside. Between the storm and the late hour, everything was gloomy and washed in gray. The only warm light came from a single bulb hanging by the door. The rain lashed furiously against the glass, and the thunder cracked so loudly it sounded like an explosion. That was how the first half of the journey went. But as soon as we reached the outskirts of town, the light by the door flickered out, plunging everything deeper into the gloom. Then, for some unknown reason, the bus came to a sudden halt. I didn't even bother asking questions, though my heart started racing uncontrollably. I admit, I was frightened, and the fact that I didn't even know what I was afraid of made it all the more terrifying. The bus doors opened. I couldn't make out if anyone had boarded, and the moment I tried to stand up, the seatbelt pulled tightly against me. Soon enough, the doors closed, and the bus resumed its route. I called out, "Hey, is anyone there?" And in response, I heard a distinct tap. I was genuinely startled. It meant someone was actually there. I repeated my question and asked a few others, but no answer followed. A coincidence, then. If I dismissed everything my fear-addled mind had imagined, the ride itself wasn't horrifying, just deeply bizarre. Eventually, the moment I had been waiting for finally arrived. We made it into town. I was home. Only 15 minutes left, and we'd be at the stop.
I kept this for you.
Glancing at my watch, I discovered it was already 9 in the evening, a full hour later than usual. Yet, we had been moving at the same speed we always did. Where did that extra hour go? I pondered the question deeply, only to quickly forget it as we finally pulled up to the stop. The doors opened, and the rain instantly swept inside. It was falling so rapidly, it almost felt artificial. I finally managed to undo my seatbelt, carefully pulled up my hood, and stepped quickly off the bus, straight under the shelter of the stop. It was incredibly dark, and there were very few people around, which was highly unusual for this spot. Everyone was rushing somewhere. The only calm figures were the vendors selling umbrellas and raincoats. There were a few of them, sitting in their tents and calling out to passers-by, but one in particular caught my eye. It was a man in a white tent, appearing as nothing more than a silhouette. He was completely silent, and whenever anyone approached him hoping to buy a raincoat, he simply turned them away. I didn't have any money on me and couldn't buy anything anyway, so I just sat on the bench under the roof, waiting for the downpour to pass. Suddenly, the vendor in the white tent began staring intently at me. felt his gaze instantly. He stepped out and started walking toward me. He was an unusually tall man, his entire figure, including his face, obscured by a white raincoat. Approaching me, he held out a translucent gray poncho. In a high, almost synthetic voice, he said, "I saved this for you. No charge." I was utterly speechless, but I took the raincoat and thanked the gentleman. It fit me perfectly, by the way. Naturally, it was a bit annoying how loudly the raindrops drummed against the material, but it had a beautiful sheen to it, so I was willing to overlook the noise. The walk from the bus stop to my house was short, just 5 minutes on foot. Halfway there, I always stopped by the store to meet my neighbor so we could walk the rest of the way together. The entire route was one long, straight street lined with houses on both sides, with an endless stretch of nothing in the middle, entirely devoid of streetlights or lamps. The rain lashed directly at my face, and not even the raincoat could fully protect me. I ran, shielding my eyes with my hand, unable to see anything, and hearing only the roaring downpour. Relying purely on my spatial awareness, I just ran, completely consumed by the single thought of making it to the store. Finally, when I stepped inside, my neighbor wasn't there. I was an hour late after all. I decided to stand under the store's awning for a minute to catch my breath. Just then, I felt someone's breath nearing me. A tall figure stepped right up behind me, pressing close and exhaling warmth directly into my ear. "It's you, isn't it, Mr. Greycloak?" I was paralyzed with fright. Unsure of how to respond, I decided to whip around and throw a punch. But as soon as I turned, there was no one there. Only a book lying at my feet. It was a thick, compact book bound in black leather. I glanced around. The street was deserted. I decided to bend down and pick it up. The moment I leaned forward, a young woman in a uniform walked up to me, offered a greeting, and began hanging a few notices on the store's wall. Holding the mysterious book firmly in my hands, I started reading the freshly pinned paper. It was a traditional remembrance notice. Whenever someone from our town departed this world, these papers were put up so that everyone would be informed of their passing. The notice spoke of the tragic departure of a certain May Plisetsky, who had left us just that very morning. A very familiar name, I thought to myself. Where have I heard it before? I don't know, I reasoned, shaking my head as I moved on to read the second poster. It was a job listing. A transit driver was required for municipal bus number 40. And right then, it hit me. May Plisetsky was the driver of bus number 40, the very man who, according to the paper, had faded away just this morning.